Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Rebecca White, Dean of the School of Law, and it is a sincere pleasure to welcome you to our beautiful North Campus. What a picture-perfect day and setting for graduation. This is a special day, not only for the class of 2010 and their families, but for the law school community as well, and I am so pleased that so many of you are here to share it with us. And on behalf of the law school, I want to say thank you to those in the audience who have done so much to bring our graduates to this special day. Law school demands a lot, not only from its students, but from those who love them. After all, it takes more than academic ability to graduate from law school. It takes hard work, dedication, and money. Many of you in the audience have supported our students emotionally and financially before and during law school. Their success in many ways is your success as well. So I want to take a moment to recognize those who have helped make this day possible. And I'll ask that you please hold your applause to the end. With the spouses, fiancés, and partners of our graduates, please stand and remain standing. With the parents of our graduates, please stand. With the grandparents of our graduates, please stand. In-laws, you stand too, please. With the brothers and sisters, children, and any other family members of our graduates, please stand. And graduates, please join me in saying thank you to these folks. This day belongs first and foremost to our graduates, so it is my honor to introduce the Vice President of the third-year class, Kevin Sweat. Mr. Sweat earned a dual degree from American University in 2007. He was a summer law clerk with the Gainesville, Georgia law firm of Forrester and Brim. And after graduation, Mr. Sweat will join the Athens firm of Cook, Knoll, Tolley, and Bates here in town. His parents are both graduates of the law school and are with us today. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Kevin Sweat.
Good morning. Mr. Dellinger, Dean White, Sheriff Edwards, Dean Kurtz, Dean Wilner, Dr. Galvin, Mr. Sowell, Professor Eaton, Dean Ellington, members of the faculty, parents, friends, mom, dad, and fellow classmates of the 2010 graduating class. Welcome and thank you for coming to share in this celebration. This past Tuesday, I turned in the last assignment of my law school career here at UGA Law, and it finally occurred to me what the best thing about law school is: graduating. The past few days, I haven't had to worry about reading the same case 4 times for Coonan's contracts class, putting together a brief addressing intentional infliction of emotional distress damages for contaminated cat food, or sweating from the back of Professor Ellington's Georgia practice class hoping that he will not call on me. He did. Instead, I've spent my time celebrating the relationships that have been built over the past 3 years in a town that we have all grown to love. In fact, our love for this town has grown so strong that along with a few of my classmates, I am proud to announce the formation of a new firm here in Athens. We will be called Sweat, Basil, Stoltz, Davis, Bailey, Zuckerman, Parente, Adams, Scott, Baldwin, Starr, Gallus, Alexander, Ellison, Lefkoff, Lowe, Green, Wood, Weathersby, and Rodriguez, LLC. And if you're curious, contrary to most every other firm in this country, yes, we are hiring. Now, the formation of this firm lends weight to 2 things. One, the economy is in a bad place right now, and students are tired of sending out cover letters to get a job that 3 years ago they believed would be a sure thing. 2, the experience we have shared here and the relationships that have been formed are something that we will hold on to well past graduation. From the first day of Dean Shipley's Civil Procedure class to the last day of West's Con Law 2, we have spent countless hours together studying in the library, writing papers at coffee houses, strolling down to the Tate Center to enjoy a meal and mingle with undergrads, going to and tailgating for Georgia football games, having the ever-popular Thursday night throwdown, and getting to know the people we will work with and more importantly, be friends with for the rest of our lives. And now, whether we like it or not, we have all chosen the same profession and will now be called lawyers. While some in this country may look upon this label with disdain, I look upon it with pride. I'm proud to have been taught by such respected members of the academic community. I'm proud to enter this profession with such a talented group of classmates. And I am proud of the work that I will do as a practicing lawyer here in Athens. Now, we also enter this profession at an uncertain time. The base of a once stable economy has been damaged, meaning we may not know when or if our next paycheck is coming, if the firm we're working for will change our start date, or what lies ahead of us in general over the next few years. But what we can be certain of are the relationships that have been built during our time here. We are not entering the working world alone, but rather with friends and now colleagues who can understand the problems we face, share in the victories we will have, and provide a stable system of support in coming times. These classmates are the people we have gotten to know intimately over the past 3 years and will continue to share with in the future, both personally and professionally. And this future is one that comes with great promise and great responsibility. While we all dream of standing victorious before the Supreme Court, or landing that first $1 million verdict and getting on our face on the back of your phone book, our lives will likely be structured much differently. Only 15% of Americans hold bachelor's degrees, and only half of those individuals have a graduate degree. We must realize that we are privileged. By graduating today, we have been given a gift and an opportunity in our lives. We must approach our profession with respect and gratitude, for that is how we will earn the same from both our clients and our colleagues. Now, in his closing remarks to the last opinion he handed down as a member of the Georgia Supreme Court, now Federal Judge Willis Hunt thanked members of his staff and his profession by saying, "They have and will continue to serve the citizens of our state tirelessly and selflessly. They exemplify Thomas Carlyle's thesis, sic vos non vobis." Translated, Carlyle's words mean, "Thus ye labor, but not for yourself." Today, as we begin our careers, we must keep those words in mind as applied to the clients we will be working for and the peers we will be working with. Law school has prepared us to work hard for other people. We are the privileged, given an opportunity through our training to help others. So while many of us may be still working hard finding a job to help ourselves, do not lose sight of this purpose. Thus, as the hiring partner of Sweat, Basil, Stoltz, Davis, Bailey, Zuckerman, Parente, Adams, Scott, Baldwin, Starr, Gallus, Alexander, Ellison, Lefkoff, Lowe, Greenwood, Weathersby, and Rodriguez, LLC, I can say we're looking to enter this profession with people who exemplify the qualities of not only a good lawyer, but more importantly, a good person. Thank you. Go Dogs. At this time, it is an honor to introduce to you the president of the University of Georgia Law School Alumni Association, Mr. Gregory C. Sowell. Mr. Sowell earned degrees in both business and law from the University of Georgia, which makes him a double dog. While a student at UGA, Mr. Sowell served as president of the Business School Council, Blue Key, and Gridiron. He was also a member of Sphinx during law school. He represented Georgia law in moot court competition. Mr. Sowell is a member of the Board of Governors of the State Bar of Georgia and is a former member of the University of Georgia Alumni Board of Managers. He currently serves on the Executive Committee of the University of Georgia Alumni Association, a past president of the Tifton Bar Association. He is also a member of the Bank Council section of the Georgia Bankers Association. He is a fellow of the Lawyers Foundation of Georgia and is a member of the Lawyers Club of Atlanta. In private practice in Tifton since 1983, Mr. Sowell served as a Special Assistant Attorney General for the state of Georgia and as a judge of the Tifton Municipal Court until his selection as city attorney for the city of Tifton in 1991. Mr. Sowell's practice emphasized local government, law, and issues related to all facets of business. And at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Sowell, Dean White, and our class president, Lauren Peel, to step forward so we may present the senior gift.
First of all, class of 2010, thank you for this generous gift to the Law School Fund, over $56,000 pledged by this class to this law school over the next several years. Thank you very, very much. Gifts to the Law School Fund support students, and primarily student scholarships. I hope that you will use this gift as the beginning of what will become a lifetime habit of giving annually to your law school. Our law school will continue to succeed to the extent that we alumni, which now includes you, support it with our time and our money. So thank you very, very much. And thank you, Kevin, for that gracious introduction. On behalf of the alumni, I would like to extend a special welcome to our program guest today, Walter Dellinger, and his wife, Ann. Mr. Dellinger, you honor us with your presence here today, and welcome to Athens. I would also like to pay special recognition to Sheriff Edwards. Now, this is a practice tip, graduates. The first thing you need to do is get to be good friends with your sheriff. Your sheriff can help you, and he will uphold the law, but he can help you in many, many ways. And he will be an important person in your life, so get to know him. And thank you for being here today, Sheriff Edwards. Dean White, members of the faculty, distinguished guests, family, friends, alumni, and especially the class of 2010. It is my honor to speak to you this morning on behalf of approximately 8,500 living alumni of the University of Georgia School of Law. Part of that alumni group is here today as a special reunion. Members of our LLM alumni group have traveled from around the world, from places such as Germany, Italy, and India to be with us. Their president is Christoph Seifert. I would ask them to stand and let us briefly recognize this group who've traveled back to Athens for a special reunion. Would you stand? Thank you. We students of the law, and I say we, because even though you're graduating, you will always be a student of the law. But we students of the law are very familiar with a legal encyclopedia known as Corpus Juris Secundum, better known by the letters CJS. I want to use those letters this morning in very brief remarks to you, and use those letters as the outline of three thoughts, which are congratulations, justice, service. First, congratulations. It is a great accomplishment to graduate from law school, but it is a significant achievement to graduate from the University of Georgia School of Law, a law school that enjoys national prominence, now ranked among the top 10 public law schools in America. And all of this occurs as we celebrate the 150th anniversary of the founding of this law school and the 225th anniversary of the chartering of the University of Georgia, the oldest public university in America. So, congratulations. Second, justice. The scales of justice sit atop this building. In fact, there's a picture of it on your program this morning. The word justice is emblazoned on both the front and rear of the law school building. But more importantly than being emblazoned on the building, this law school over the past 3 years has tried to emblazon this primary concept upon your hearts and minds. Justice is what your legal careers should be about. On behalf of the alumni, we say to you, if you enter the practice of law without a passion for justice, without a reverence for the rule of law, without a burning desire to help people solve their problems, then it is my sad duty to tell you that you will soon be jaded and cynical. Burnout will follow, and shortly after that, you'll be looking for another way to earn a living. So please, please, I urge you, I beg you, make the pursuit of justice the foundation block upon which you build your career. Third, service. A legal education is not a birthright. It is a privilege, and you have earned it. So use it. Use it to help your friends, your neighbors, your community, your state, your country. Since the Continental Congress, lawyers have been at the forefront to help build, shape, and guide this democracy. It is not your option. It is your duty to add to this rich heritage. CJS, congratulations, justice, service. The Law School Association congratulates you upon your graduation as we urge you to pursue justice while serving those around you. It is now my privilege to welcome you into full membership in the University of Georgia Law School Association. Congratulations again.
Good morning. My name is Paul Kurtz. I'm the Associate Dean for Academic and Student Affairs. This morning's ceremony is appropriately focused on the graduates who will soon be receiving their degrees. It is heartwarming for me to see the parents, spouses, family, and friends who are gathered to celebrate the collective achievements of this talented group of soon-to-be attorneys. But before turning to the joyful task of formally recognizing them, I am honored to recognize and ask you to thank a group of dedicated men and women who have spent a great deal of time over 3 years helping the class of 2010 to reach this day. I speak, of course, of the distinguished faculty of the University of Georgia School of Law, a group of which I have been a proud member for exactly 35 years. These men and women have worked inside and outside the classroom to prepare this class for the law practice of the 21st century. Through such activities as formal instruction, supervision of papers, judging mock trial and moot court arguments, career advisement, recommendation letters, academic counseling, curriculum development, and sponsorship of extracurricular activities, the faculty has provided encouragement, guidance, and role modeling for the class of 2010 as it negotiated the sometimes rocky path of the law school experience. Speaking for the faculty, I can assure you that while we are very proud of our production in terms of books and articles and law reform and other such items, we are at least as proud of the education that we provide these students and of the graduates we send into the legal profession. Just as we have been there for them during their time here, we are delighted to be here for them this morning also. I'm exceedingly proud to ask my colleagues of the University of Georgia Law School faculty to stand and receive recognition and thanks. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the president of the class of 2010, Ms. Lauren Peel. Ms. Peel is a 2006 summa cum laude graduate of the University of Georgia, where she earned dual degrees in business administration and in Spanish. She was a student in the honors program here, was selected for membership in the Golden Key Honor Society, and was a presidential scholar. Between college and law school, Ms. Peel worked as a legal assistant for a solo practitioner in Atlanta, Georgia. During her time in law school, she has clerked with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and for the Northeastern Judicial Circuit Public Defender Office in Gainesville, Georgia. In addition to serving as class president, Ms. Peel served previously as class vice president during her first and second year of school here and as vice justice of the Phi Alpha Delta legal fraternity. It's a distinct pleasure for me to introduce Lauren Peel, who will introduce our commencement speaker.
It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Walter Dellinger. Mr. Dellinger serves as chair of the appellate practice at O'Melveny and heads the Harvard O'Melveny Supreme Court and Appellate Practice Clinic. He is a visiting professor of law at Harvard University and is on leave from his professorship at Duke Law University. Mr. Dellinger earned his undergraduate degree at the University of North Carolina and his law degree at Yale University, where he served as editor of the Yale Law Journal. During 1968 through 1969, he served as a judicial law clerk to U.S. Supreme Court Justice Hugo L. Black. Mr. Dellinger has served as Assistant Attorney General and head of the Office of Legal Counsel from 1993 until 1996. He was acting Solicitor General for the 1996-1997 term of the U.S. Supreme Court. During that time, Mr. Dellinger argued 9 cases before the court, the most by any Solicitor General in over 20 years. His arguments included cases dealing with physician-assisted suicide, the line item veto, the Cable Television Act, the Brady Act, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, and the constitutionality of remedial services for parochial school children. He has served as special counsel to the Board of Directors of the New York Stock Exchange in connection with the transformation into a publicly held company and its acquisition of an electronic trading company. After serving in early 1993 in the White House as advisor to the President on constitutional issues, Mr. Dellinger was nominated by the President to be Assistant Attorney General. He was confirmed by the Senate in October 1993 and served for 3 years. As head of the Office of Legal Counsel, Mr. Dellinger issued opinions on a wide variety of topics, including the President's authority to deploy United States forces in Haiti and Bosnia, whether the trade agreements required treaty ratification, and a major review of separation of powers questions. He provided extensive legal advice on questions arising out of the shutdown of the federal government, on national debt ceiling issues, and on loan guarantees for Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Walter Dellinger.
Thank you, Lauren. I can no longer remember anything about my 13th birthday, which was celebrated in some now unrecallable fashion on the 3rd Saturday in May of 1954. I do know as I stand here today that the world is very different from the world in which I was born on May 15th, 1941. And although I don't remember anything about my 13th birthday, I still recall vividly what happened the following Monday. I was stumbling unfocused through the 7th grade at Myers Park High School in Charlotte. It was just past midday, I recall, when there was a knock on our classroom door. Our 4th period teacher went to the door and had a hushed conversation with the assistant principal. And at conversation's end, as I remember it in my mind's remembered eye, always in slow motion, our teacher turned ashen-faced. And because of the severity of that expression, our chatter fell to a hush. And our teacher said, in words I could remember half a century later, "Children, the Supreme Court has spoken. Next year, you will go to school with colored children." This was the introduction to a new world. Our teacher's assumption about the immediate effect of the Supreme Court's decision that morning in Brown versus the Board of Education was, of course, seriously in error. I finished high school 6 years later, never having attended class with a child of African American descent. Indeed, I finished the University of North Carolina, Yale Law School, and was back teaching the Brown decision at the University of Mississippi when the Supreme Court finally brought an end to official segregation in the Southern South. What I think about when I think about Brown on an occasion of your graduation is how much a part of our national conversation law is. We are, as one of my colleagues and friends once noted, we are a community built on words. And words are all the Supreme Court has, and words are what we use to construct our community. And when I think back on Brown, I realize that the Supreme Court had no power to fundamentally change this most salient fact about American existence. The Supreme Court has no purse. It has no army. It has no power in the end except the power of persuasion. And for a decade after Brown, nothing happened. And yet everything happened. Nothing happened in terms of school desegregation. But the everything that happened was the initiation of a conversation. Brown put a challenge to the nation, and especially to the American South. It made the whole system of racial apartheid into a normative question. Was this right or was this wrong? And from that day, May 17, 1954, throughout my time in high school, there was nothing but an intense conversation about what was right and what was wrong about the system of racial segregation and racial subordination in the American South. And in that conversation, the fact that the court could put a question to the country played an enormously important role. And we see the role that the court and law can play when you look at the first words uttered in his first public speech by that son of Georgia, Martin Luther King, Jr., in the Holt Street Baptist Church when the Montgomery school bus boycott began. His first public appearance in the pulpit, not giving a sermon, was the second day of the Montgomery bus boycott. And he had, Mrs. King recalls, only 20 minutes to decide what to say to a packed church and to those standing and waiting outside listening on loudspeakers. And what he chose to say demonstrates the role that law plays in American culture, because he was asking those gathered to violate local law by appealing to a higher law. And he closed his speech that night at the Holt Street Baptist Church by saying this: if we are wrong, the Supreme Court of this nation is wrong. If we are wrong, the Constitution of the United States is wrong. If we are wrong, God Almighty is wrong. And King, I think, shows how the conversation about law and justice is not limited to lawyers. And indeed, in this community built on words, his great instinct in that speech we have heard so often and never listened to fully, his instinct was to take a dissident movement of opposition and wrap it in the mantle of American history. King refers back to Lincoln, America's greatest lawyer, in the I Have a Dream speech. 5 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand, he began, referring back to Lincoln and associating him and his movement with the best of the American tradition, not the course of most dissidents, but a brilliantly conceived notion to show this dissident movement to be the true inheritors of the best of the American tradition by reaching back to Lincoln, indeed by painting an iconographic portrait of America, by listing all of the place names from New Hampshire to Stone Mountain of Georgia, to actually wrap this in the mantle of Americanism. Now, I came to think about King because in this light, when I was asked to write an essay about a study of the 100 people who had had the greatest influence on American law, this was an extraordinarily ill-conceived project. The idea was to try to rank order people from Hammurabi to Theodore Roosevelt in terms of their influence on American law, a study that gained initial credibility by getting number one right James Madison, without whom we would not have anything like the American constitutional system we have today. Madison, who retired in the winter of 1785 to his mountain home and studied the histories of confederacies, ancient and modern, so that he could arrive in Philadelphia with a plan for a national union. And indeed, I think John Marshall should have been second instead of third. But what called this whole study into question, even though it gained great credibility by including King as one of the most influential persons on American law, it lost credibility by listing all the way down at number 69, Abraham Lincoln, who is second only to Madison in his influence on American law, and unquestionably our greatest lawyer. And the point I want to make to those of you who are graduating today is one aspect of Lincoln's life. And that is that Lincoln used his lawyering skills in the same way in public life that he had in private practice. If you study the records of his law practice, you will see that what made him a great trial lawyer was an ability to narrow the issues. He never demonized opposing counsel. He never tried to win points that he didn't need to win. Those who would come to hear him try cases would be amazed. At first they would think he was throwing the case. He would concede point after point. He would say, "Now, my opposing counsel has a pretty good point, and I can't really argue about this thing. And I can't really find any way to argue about this other thing. But there's just one point where I think we disagree." And it would be the point on which the matter turned. And as he enters public life, yet again at the age of 50, he used these very same techniques. There's a seamless transition from his ability to use his lawyerly skills on behalf of the Illinois Railroad to using those skills in his debates with Stephen Douglas. And I think it inspires all of us as to what you can do with the skills of a lawyer. It may be at night after work helping out with the PTA, that you use your skills in trying to bring about resolution of conflict, that you use your skills, as Greg Sowell said, to pursue justice. But you can do it throughout your communities in ways large and small. And that's what Lincoln taught us. And he also taught us that you should never give up. Think about Lincoln on the morning that he gave his first House Divided speech, June 16th, 1858. He was a failure. 2 terms in the state legislature, 1 term in Congress. He was never returned. Ran twice for the Senate and didn't even get his party's nomination. Was no longer that interested in his law practice. His dreams of greatness unfulfilled. His marriage difficult. One of his sons ailing and eventually dying. A very defeated person at the age of 50. At 56, he was dead. In between, he changed the world. We have had a conversation about our constitutional system. And surprisingly, we have agreed about much more than we disagree about. And if you look at all the things we agree about, you will understand that how successful we have been. At the Constitutional Convention, Gunning Bedford of Delaware said, "Does anyone here imagine that 150 years hence, this vast continent will still be governed as a single nation?" Well, we made it at another half century beyond. And we did it in part because of the skills we have to talk to each other about our common future. And the skills that you have learned from the extraordinary faculty at the University of Georgia Law School will equip you to be part of that ongoing conversation to help build the future of a community that rests upon words and a common sense of understanding what we are about as Americans. So let's get those degrees and get started. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dellinger, for your remarks, and it has certainly been an honor to have you with us for our commencement ceremony, and I also note that today is your birthday. So thank you so much for sharing your birthday with us. I now want to take a moment to tell you how our ceremony will proceed. We have with us today, in addition to our JD candidates, candidates for the Master of Law degrees. These candidates, whose degrees are actually conferred by the graduate school in a separate university-wide ceremony, will be introduced this morning by our Associate Dean for Graduate Studies, Professor Gabriel Wilner. Associate Dean Kurtz will then introduce our faculty marshals, and after that, our JD candidates will receive their degrees. The honorary marshals will call the names for the class of 2010, and the graduates will cross the stage as their names are called. And following the conferral of the degrees and the recessional, we invite you to join us on the back lawn for picture taking and some water, which I'm sure by that point you'll need. But let me now turn it over to Associate Dean Wilner.
Thank you, Dean White. Dean White, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my very pleasant task to introduce to you the members of the LLM class of this year. The Dean mentioned earlier that some of our alumni are with us today, and they were recognized. So you can see that we have faithful alumni in very faraway places who return to Athens every 5 years to reignite the days of pleasure that they had, and of course of learning, that they had at the University of Georgia Law School. I'm going to read out their names, and they're going to come up and be congratulated. And with their names, just for your interest, I will call out the country from which they've come to us. So, are we ready? Yep. Mr. Abiodun Akinolu from Nigeria. Popular man. Next, Ms. Nardos Alemu from Ethiopia. Catherine Castro from Colombia. Ryan Dodd from the United States. We have at least one American, or I should say North American. Mr. Pan Hu from China. Mr. Mukendo Kabuya from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Mr. Andreas Kunsch from Germany.
Thank you so much.
And finally, but certainly not least, Mr. Nan Xiang from China. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Before I introduce to the class of 2010 the marshals that they selected, I would like to speak very briefly to you as a group for the last time. I want you to know how proud I am and we are of you. I want you to know how much you mean to this institution. I want you to know that although I suspect each of you believe that you're taking a little piece of us with you as you go, and you are also, believe it or not, leaving a little piece of you here as you leave. Remember your roots, remember your school, keep us informed, be in touch. Each year, 2 members of the law school community are selected by the class of graduates to serve as faculty marshals. The honor of selection is great, and the function is very important. They will read the graduates' names as they come to receive their diploma and their congratulations from Dean White. I'm especially pleased this morning to introduce 2 dear friends and faculty colleagues. Professor Tom Eaton. J. Alton Hush Professor Tom Eaton has been a member of the law faculty since 1979. After earning his BA in government from the University of Texas, Professor Eaton graduated from the University of Texas Law School with high honors, membership on the Texas Law Review, and election to the Order of the Coif. He subsequently clerked for Judge Robert Marriage of the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia and practiced law in Austin, Texas for 2 years. During his tenure in academia, Professor Eaton has been a visiting professor at the University of Texas and at Mercer University, and was a visiting scholar at the Hastings Center. He teaches in the field of torts, constitutional torts, health law, and workers' compensation. Professor Eaton is the co-author of a number of books and a prolific contributor to the legal literature, having published articles in the Journal of Legal Studies, the Wake Forest Law Review, the Journal of Family Practice, the Washington Law Review, and the Iowa Law Review. His work was recently cited in a decision by the Supreme Court of the United States dealing with punitive damages. He's done research on empirical questions in both tort and health law through the funding of several external grants. A longtime member of the university's Institutional Review Board, he was the first law professor to win the university's Creative Research Medal. He served as chair of the Governor's Workers' Compensation Review Committee, testified before committees of the Georgia Legislature and the U.S. House of Representatives, and chaired the Law School Admissions Committee. He was active in the creation of the Joseph Henry Lumpkin American Inn of Court at Georgia and has been on its executive committee since 1987. A longtime member of the board of the Athens Justice Project, Tom has contributed in so many ways. As a law school citizen, Tom Eaton has been a major contributor to the congenial atmosphere for which Georgia law has always been known. Professor Ron Ellington is the Gus Cleveland Distinguished Chair of Legal Ethics and Professionalism and the Josiah Meigs Distinguished Teaching Professor Emeritus. After earning his undergraduate degree at Emory and law degrees at the University of Virginia and Harvard University, Ron practiced law at a major Atlanta law firm and joined this faculty in 1969, 41 years ago. A superb teacher who has 3 times been named the law school's Outstanding Teacher of the Year by members of the 3rd-year class. He also was the recipient of the Josiah Meigs Distinguished Teaching Professor Award given to 3 university professors across the entire university each year. He also has taught several generations of our students in the courses in civil procedure, Georgia practice, and legal profession. All of these courses are part of the core of our curriculum, and thus I have calculated, though I'm not a math major, that approximately 4,500 students over the past 41 years have been the beneficiaries of Professor Ellington's expertise. While in a purely formal sense, Ron retired at the end of the last academic year, he continues to teach the course in Georgia practice and procedure. My friend and colleague, Ron Ellington, has been a major shaper of this law school for over 40 years. He served a lengthy term as chair of the admissions committee, the faculty committee, with the responsibility for sifting through many applications in order to identify those lucky enough to win a seat in the entering class. And as an aside, I suspect many of you realize this, but probably many of you don't. This year we have had 4,200 applications filed for the 230 seats in the class that will enter this fall. That's about 20 to 1. Ron also has served the law school as dean of the law school for 6 years, during which he spearheaded the drive to fund the building of Rusk Hall. Both during and after his deanship, he has been active in the Joseph Henry Lumpkin Inn of Court. Outside of the law school, he's been extremely active in the State Bar of Georgia, where he serves as reporter for the State Bar Committee on Standards of the Profession and heads up the Transition into Practice project, which has been used as a model by other states. He's also a member of the State Bar Formal Advisory Opinion Board, which advises attorneys on matters of ethics and professionalism. Ron Ellington, colleague, former boss, but most and best of all, my friend.
Thank you, Paul. And on behalf of the law school, I'd like to say a few words to our students and soon-to-be graduates. It is often said that law school is a life-changing experience, and I believe that is true. Law school does change the way you see and think about the world around you. I have little doubt that you are a more analytical thinker than you were when you entered law school 3 years ago. Law school trains you to better see shades of gray. It also provides you the tools you need to help transform the world around you. People will listen to you more closely and will be guided by you because you are a lawyer. Your legal training and your license to practice law allow you to accomplish things others simply cannot, and that is an awesome responsibility. As a member of the law faculty, I can think of no greater privilege than to have had a role in shaping the lawyers you will become. I can promise you that the hard work you put into law school will stand you in good stead after you leave here. It is our wish for you that your continued hard work will result in both professional and personal satisfaction. We are proud of the law students you were and of the lawyers you soon will be. Also know and remember that when you leave here, you carry our hopes and our reputation with you. The lawyers you become, the imprint you make on the legal profession and on the local, national, and international landscapes in which you practice are part of our legacy as well. I believe that the University of Georgia School of Law has done well by you, and I am confident that you will do well by us. And now, will the candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor please rise? By the authority vested in me by the University of Georgia and the Board of Regents of the State University System of Georgia, I now confer upon you the degree Juris Doctor, for which you have been recommended by your faculty, with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining. Congratulations. Will all candidates other than those in the first row please be seated?
Samuel Justin Adams. Julie E. Atkins. Ashley Lane Agnew. John Stephen Albright. Jeremy Carl Airy. David Corliss Audoff. Charles Curtis Bailey. Patrick Shea Baldwin. Norman Lewis Barnett. Jessica Marie Bartelt. J. Matthew Bass. Johnson Thomas Basil. William Bennett Bembry. Matthew Arnold Bennett. Matthew G. Bayukema. Emily Ruth Bones. Justin Khalif Bounds. Allison Brooke Bowen. Casey Dale Bowen. Matthew T. Bowers. William Thomas Bozen. Elizabeth Marion Broadway. Carl Patrick Broder. Kimberly Rose Brownhill. Judson Sturgis Bryant III. Reagan Marie Bush. Aaron Morgan Campbell. N. Charles Campbell II. Anne Romaine Carroll. Jason Foster Carter. Sharifa Aliyah Sharali. Chase Julian Vernell Cheatham. Benjamin W. Cheesebro. Kelly Ann Christian. Ye Sun Sunny Chung. Christopher John Churchill. Garrett Stephen Churchill. Emily Hart Cobb. Cerrone Jerome Coker. Tiffany Andrea Coleman. Robert Todd Graham Collins. Christopher Anthony Corbett. Daniela Andrea Costin. Jessica Nicole Cox. Caitlin Marie Christ. Michael Justin Crow. Robert J. Curlow. Joseph Lamont Kushner. Lindsay Phoenix DeAndre. Tia Leon Daniels. Jared Rex Davis. Teresa Louise Davis. William Daniel Davis. Andrew Harrison Deacle. Timothy Franklin Dewberry. Russell James Edwards. David Feltz Ellison. Jean Lorraine Epps. Laura Gail Evans. Morgan Lee Feltz. Stinson Woodward Ferguson. Jeffrey Howard Fisher. Ryan Andrew Fisher. Robert Chad Fitzgerald. Marissa Michelle Fortunato. Stephen Reginald Fowler. I'm done with them. Elizabeth Ann Freeman. Alexandra Natalie Russell Gaines. Alan Charles Gallus. John Franklin Gelzer III. Sarah Elizabeth Giesling. Whitney Link Gibbs. Kathleen Van Pelt Gibson. Elizabeth Rochelle Givens. Douglas Ross Gladden. Lucas Richard Geisner. Rachel Lee Goodrich. Ashley Nicole Gowder. Jennifer Lauren Gower. Herman Graham. Joseph Richard Green III. Marie Elizabeth Green. Sheenam Tarsame Gupta. Rachel Hall, sorry. Emma Allie Hastings. Austin Patrick Harris. Robert Allen Hawk. William Charles Hayes. Hayden Blake Headley. Alice Dunlap Henderson. Philip Daniel Henderson. Leslie Page Henricks. Jamie Ann Hollopeter. Lauren Elizabeth Holtzclaw. Anna White Howard. Cherie Alaka Hudson. Caitlin Ashley Hunt. Eric Dirk Huttenbach. Elizabeth K. Jabuli. Brandon E. James. Archiseas Shamira Jenkins. Artist Jared Jenkins. Kate L. Jensen. Chloe Faulkner Johnson. Rachel Kaylin Jones. Russell Robert Jones. Young Wan Jamie Jun. Sean Kane. Hillary Claire Keith. Ashley Ann King. Gary Daniel Knopf. Mary Margaret Curry. Jarvis B. Lakemaker. Shelley Wendell Luprad V.
We have a December graduate, David Wesley Alexander. Allison Lawrence Lee. Stephen Hare Lee. Timothy Hyam Lee. Stephen Miles Lefkoff. Allison Michelle Lerner. Molly Lauren Levinson. Audrey Alexandra Lewis. Adam Lilly. Corinne Labdell. Ron Christopher Locke. Sarah Lindsay Lonergan. Jonathan Rhodes Lowe. Robert Matthew Marsden. Margaret Alea McClatchy. Keisha Ann McCreary. Jennifer Tucker McFarland. William Frederick McFedridge IV. C. Kaya McCrae. Charles William McCrae. Benjamin Wayne Middendorf. Robert Felton Michael. Anthony Benford Mentor. Jamelia Miguel Montague. Darrell Robert Moody, Kelly Elizabeth McCall Mountain, Andrew Alexander Murchison, Christine Helen Murphy, Kevin Patrick Murphy, Prince Najuku, Corey Robinson O'Brien, Laura Hoadley Aub, John Austin Owen, Jonathan David Parenti, Andrea Joy Parker, Lauren Peel, Mary Dales Hawks, Lauren McVoy Clough, Caleb Marcus Plunkett. Turn the mics down. Okay. Matthew James Poziak, Jolie Porter, Robert Matthew Porter, Stanton Edward Porter, Michael Thomas Rapp, Joy Renee Reed, Andrew Buell Register, George Robert Reinhardt III, David G. Rigdon, Marcus Tyrone Roberts, Carlos Javier Rodriguez, congratulations, Alexander Mark Rowland, Stephanie M. Reuter, James Michael Russett, Michael Aaron Swartz, Richard Emmanuel Scott, Ashley Lynette Scruggs, Jonathan Eric C., Ra Shaw, Mary Catherine Shell, Erica Patrick Shipley, Maureen Alicia Shepard, David Roland Shulkin, Jeanette Ann Michelle Shockley, Carson Lundquist Seaving, Amy Elizabeth Smith, Lauren Elizabeth Smith, Valerie Ann Smith, David Allen Smythe, Timothy James Sewers, Lauren Ruth Jefferson Malloy Starr, Eric David Stolz, Elizabeth Ruth Story, Kevin Edward Strawn, Andrew Alexander Stokes, Kuhan Christopher Soon, Kevin Geezy Sweat, Tina Tremay, Kristen Ashley Tesman, Clinton Wallace Teston, Angelique Barbara Thomas, Talia Roselle Tiffany, Michael Blake Tillery, Julia Lynn Titolo, Lee Franklin Titsworth, Heather Marie Trick, Brent Andrew Tucker, William Joseph Turner, Bradford Samuel Twomley, Emily Catherine Tyler, Jasna Valendar, Lauren Ashley Vilma, Erin Lee Waddle, Benjamin D. Walters, Annalise Ivory Washington, Alexander DeWitt Weatherby, Daniel Chu West, Anna Marguerite Wyan, Dimitri Williams, Risa Alexis Williams, Clark Thomas Weisenbaker, Stephanie Kristen Wisler, Joshua Stephen Wood, Matthew Woods, Raymond Talmadge Wooten, Jeffrey Allen Zeitman, Haley Elizabeth Zapel, Adam Charles Zuckerman,
Congratulations to the class of 2010.